I like Arknights. And because of it, we will have another content. This would have been recommended to me, all 68 archetypes explained. Basically, as a new player who playing this game roughly for not even a month, I think this could be such a great video to watch to learn a little bit more, because I feel like I'm just using like 3 types over and over, so maybe it's time to extend my knowledge.
Many mechanics and systems are a little bit funky and not always clearly explained. Global translations and Ian can't read make for a frightening duo. With 8 classes in the game, each class comes with a multitude of branches that all do slightly different things.
Okay,
so let's quickly talk about all
68
of them, starting off with Vanguards. Pioneers are like the vanilla ice cream of Vanguards. They are the defensive block 2 option that can give a consistent rate of DP without blowing up to the first wave of enemies, and are your best friend for AFK annihilation clears.
Okay, nice.
Chargers are the DP on kill Vanguard, which, true to its name, means anytime these Vanguards defeat an enemy, they get a whole 1 DP. They're only able to block 1, but make up for it by having a higher attack stat, since their job is, well, to defeat enemies and get DP. They also have a nice quality of life feature that they refund their entire DP cost once
Okay, this is really
Standard
handy.
bearers, or better known as flag bearers,
I was told to get this character. I think I already have like 4 dupes, but I never try her. Maybe after this video I can finally figure out what to do with her.
were the bread and butter of opening stages with the flag pipe meta until agents came along. They generate more DP on skill than any other Vanguard, but are unable to block on skill. Bagpipe is their best friend. Tacticians get to have the high ground, and are able to deploy their own legally distinct Pokemon within their range on a ground tile. When attacking enemies blocked by the summon, Tacticians increase their attack to 150%.
Is
the
she
summons
slapping
can
him?
perish and will take a few seconds to heal before it comes back up again. The only way to move your summons,
like-
however, is by retreating the operator as a whole and redeploying, which is a bit cringe. Agent, the most recent addition to the Vanguard class. Agents are also the most meta option. Agent Vanguards are very flexible due to their shortened redeployment time of 35 seconds, giving them a pseudo FRD style of play. They have decent damage, and they're able to
I
generate
feel like
DP
I got
decently
no
quick.
idea.
They do
Probably
require
don't
a more
have any.
active playstyle, however.
Has it come to my turn?
Vessel Binders, or slow supporters, do as the name implies, slow enemies with their attack. They are good simple units that can
Is this by any chance Gilberto? I'm kinda seeing the resemblance from the Enfield.
help with slowing enemies in ranges to let your other units deal damage. Summoners summon things. Each summon
Ooh,
takes
shocking.
a deployment limit and are able to be placed outside the operator's range.
Yo,
Every
what is
supporter
this?
can only deploy a certain amount of summons, and all summons explode if the summoner is retreated or is defeated. Hexers will debuff enemies with their skills or talents, the debuff usually being fragile or a roundabout way of inflicting fragile. Fragile meaning amplifying the amount of damage true, physical, and arts do to an enemy. Bards are characterized by the fact that they do not attack, they just kinda sit there. They are able to passively restore the HP of units within their range, which means units that cannot be healed, like Juggernauts or Solo Blades, are able to be healed within their range. Their main gimmick is that bards have the ability to inspire. Inspire buffs a certain stat, usually attack
Inspire.
or defense. Inspiration cannot be stacked, but different forms of inspiration can. You can buff attack with Sculptor S3 and max HP with Civilite
Ooh.
S3, but you cannot stack Sculptor S3 with Tidy S2, which are both attack buffs. Note, bards do not receive the inspiration buff themselves. Abjurers
I feel like I don't have such a character, or maybe like after that Ave Mujica event, maybe I do. I never experienced such a gameplay that you will put some like amplifier or like buff unit, so to speak. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I struggle in some certain stages. Maybe I need to learn more about
are in the
those.
business of keeping people alive when they are on their skill and via their talents. Abjurers will attack off skill and will heal on skill. All Abjurers' talents come in the form of getting Sanctuary to allies, Sanctuary being a fancy word for arts and physical damage reduction, so they just make your units have more survivability. Artificers
that's
are
actually
the other
nice.
ground option for supporters. Their main mechanic is that they come with devices that support
I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a summon unit. This is probably gonna be really fun for me to even try.
units. These buffs usually come in the form of increasing attack, defense, or HP. All devices do something different,
Oh,
so
look
be
at
sure
the-
to read what each does.
That's cute.
They have a device deploy limit of 2, and some operators are unable to replenish them, so be careful. Ritualist's main function is to inflict elemental injury. Their job is to proc whatever elemental burst they are assigned to. They are also the main component in enabling primal casters to work efficiently and as intended.
Okay. I was like, what? But then I saw the picture, this plus this equal good. Makes sense.
As intended.
Come, best me if you can.
Protectors are your basic defender class. They are the chonkiest boys. Guardians are a bit less bulky than protectors, but they are able to heal themselves and others with their skills, making them a good support option. Juggernauts, or enmity defenders, have the highest HP and attack stats in the defender class, but they are unable to be healed by normal means. Their healing mainly comes in the form of either talents or their skills, but they are able to be healed through passive restoration, helping their survivability. Arch protectors are similar to normal protectors, but they can deal arch damage on their
Okay, now I see. So basically, this is supposed to be this one, right? Now I see the Guardian, the Protector. Well, okay, that's gonna be actually rather interesting. I guess now I have a little bit more to study.
skills. They also come with some amount of res, helping them better tank arch damage. Arch protectors, as of the uploading of this video, are
And
the only
they
defender
suck.
branch that does not have a 6-star in it. Duelist defenders are similar to Juggernauts in the sense that they have both high HP and attack, but they are able to be healed normally. Their main difference from all other defenders is that duelists are only able to block one enemy at a time, which makes them suited for dueling tougher enemies with their high stats. The other big main gimmick
They could be
and their
handy
biggest
for the
drawback
bosses, right?
is that they are unable to generate SP normally and must be blocking enemy to get SP. Fortress defenders have a funky range and are focused on dealing AoE physical damage from afar. They work best when they are not blocking enemies, since if they are blocking, their attack switches to single target. They are good for sniping at hard to reach places when ranged tiles aren't available. They are unable to target aerial enemies.
This
Sentry
is
protectors
really
are
interesting
defenders
gameplay.
that are able to attack from range, 2 tiles in front of them to be exact, and are able to target aerial enemies. They are good offensive options as they have a higher attack than other defenders, but can block more than one. Primal defenders are ritualists, but on the ground. Despite having the name Primal defenders are meant to deal elemental injury and proc elemental bursts with their skills and talents, as opposed to taking advantage of elemental bursts like primal casters do. They are
There is no way with my current situation I can experience such a gameplay.
burst like primal casters do. They are a bit less tanky, but come with res and ways to
Dude's
mitigate
literally
elemental injury
melting.
on themselves.
What's the situation?
Medics restore the HP of allies. That is the trait description. And it is not wrong. Medics, better known as single target medics, are your standard healing class and don't do anything special besides heal, unless your name is Calcid.
That's my most common
Multi-target
one.
medics, or AoE medics, are able to heal 3 operators at a time. They have less attack than single target medics, but of course make up for it by healing 3 at a time. Therapists have a wide range and specialize in status resistance. When they heal units, they're able to give them status resist, meaning things like stun or freeze only stay for.
Okay, now I understand why you guys recommend me to get this character.
Half the duration, make them useful in events
look at
that
that
come
range.
with negative stats inflicting mechanics. However, they have
Huge.
reduced healing to 80% to units that are further away. Wandering medics specialize in healing and removing elemental injury, this small circle thing. Wandering medics are able to heal elemental injury even if the unit is uninjured. They also have a wide range, but also have the lowest attack in the medic class. Incantation medics are healers that need to hit enemies to heal. They are a good supportive option to have since they can heal and deal damage at the same time, but this is also their drawback as they need enemies to be within range to heal anyone. Also, they have massively reduced damage if the enemies have any form of damage reduction or a high res stat. Chain medics are like AoE medics but with extra steps. Every time they heal a unit, the heal bounces between 3 units, with the healing reduced by 25%.
This is probably the only unit that I kind of understand since I play the Restoration Druid or the Shaman when it comes to World of Warcraft. It kind of having the similar traits.
Typical range though, which can be useful on certain stages.
This is your last chance to pull out.
Core casters are your basic arts damage dealers. They are quite simple and are the
They
most
do the
well-rounded
magic.
caster branch. Splash casters, or AoE casters, deal AoE arts damage. They are quite expensive with a limited range without their mods. AoE casters are unfortunately quite bad, but are very useful in the first few chapters of the main story.
It's actually good that they mention, or he mentioned, it's kind of bad because like when I saw that for AoE damage I have to spend like 30 or like 28 points on the CP, I was like, hell no. I think I used this unit like once in a
but
lifetime.
fall off hard afterwards. Blast casters are casters that shoot in a direct line. Blast casters are able to hit everyone within their very limited range. They're quite tricky to use and rely on stages giving you so-called Ifrit lanes, named as such since Ifrit is the only good blast caster. However, you can artificially make Ifrit lanes if you so desire. Chain casters are able to hit 4 enemies since their attacks jump from enemy to enemy.
Ooh.
Every time it jumps, it will deal 15% less damage. These attacks also inflict slow, making them a good support option for the one to slow larger groups of enemies.
It looks like fun
Mecha
gameplay.
or drone casters are identical to core casters, but as the name implies, drone casters come with a drone that deals 20% of the caster's attack. This drone increases its attack by 15% every time it hits an enemy, up to 110%. This attack stat resets each time the drone targets another enemy. Drone casters have skills that lock their drone on enemies and can continue to attack even outside the range of the caster, or even if the caster is under a negative status, like freeze or stun. Phalanx casters stand there menacingly. Phalanx casters are only able to attack on skill. Balance things out, Phalanx casters
okay, this is not gonna be my
increase their
cup of
res
tea.
by 20 off skill, making them very tanky, allowing them to be bait if needed. Their skills are also able to hit all enemies within their range, increasing their damage output and being a good option for.
Okay, I think I'm gonna take it back. Like what I just saw, that was actually a pretty amazing.
Crowd clearing. Mystic casters are able to charge their attacks. When Mystic casters have no enemies within their range, they will charge projectiles and store them up to a count of 3. Once an enemy enters their range, they will shoot out 4 projectiles, dealing a very high amount of damage, as Mystic casters have the highest attack out of all the casters. Mystic casters are still able to attack normally and do not need to charge to attack. Primal casters are dependent on enemies being under a form
look
of
at that
elemental
skin.
burst. This is because they can inflict elemental damage with their attacks if an enemy is under elemental burst. However, to reach their max damage potential, they require being paired with a ritualist that can proc elemental burst, as primal casters cannot inflict elemental injury with their big damage skills. Do take.
Honestly, like reading this, oh my god, we only halfway through. Like primal needs to be with ritualist, things like that. I feel like I need to have like literally paper with like combinations, like what kind of combinations is good to have. Like even though I'm here for a long run and I definitely want to try like more combinations, things like that, I feel like maybe it's not gonna be even possible for me to even comprehend like all these 68 archetypes under the year.
Care that primal casters must be paired with the correct elemental
I
burst.
cannot focus
For
when
example,
she eating
Nith
that
can't
cake.
do elemental damage
It's
if
too
the burst
cute.
is a burn type, and so on. Shaper casters are able to summon a unit if they defeat an enemy within their range, up to a certain amount. Shaper casters are also able to attack enemies that are blocked by summons, even if it's out of their range. They can function as a supportive lane holding option.
This is gonna be really cool.
Of peace.
Archetypes.
Marksmen are your basic sniper class that are cheap and attack quickly. They will prioritize aerial enemies and struggle against high defense enemies.
Sucks ass against high DF. Well, I learned it the hard way. Like at the very beginning, literally my tactic for defending the enemies with high like defense was to literally deploy as much marksmen as
To
possible.
struggle against high defense enemies. Artillerymen, or AoE snipers, do as the name implies. AoE snipers do AoE damage. They have a very long range that is useful for attacking groups of enemies before they get close to you.
That looks dope.
Deadeye snipers have a high attack stat with a very large range. However, they always prioritize the lowest defense enemy in their range, which can lead to them focusing on weak mobs instead of more threatening enemies. Heavy
That could be
shooters
like
are
double-edged
snipers with a
sword.
reduced range, but usually focus on high burst skills to compensate for said range. All heavy shooters operators benefit and incentivize attacking enemies that are directly in front of them. Spread shooters have the same forward range as heavy shooters, but noticeably lack the range right next to them. Spread shooters have true AoE damage, meaning they hit every enemy in their range and are not restricted to a count. They incentivize attacking units in the first row of their range, as their attack increases to 150% if they do. They are the tankiest snipers, but also the most expensive. Besiegers are snipers that prioritize attacking the heaviest.
I don't know like what is this character, but look at the weapon. That looks literally badass. I don't know who is this character. Maybe guys, let me know. I'd like to have it.
Enemies first. Usually, heavy enemies are the ones that look dangerous or like big chunguses. Their range is a bit wacky as they cannot target anyone in front of them, so be mindful of their placements. Flingers are snipers that deal 2 instances of damage, the second instance being a shockwave that does half the normal attack to ground enemies in a small area. Do note I said ground enemies as
Is this the character? Is this how this character like normally looks like? It looks like she literally carrying like shit ton of armor. Looks like she went to the basement and steal literally like every equipment possible.
flingers are snipers that cannot hit aerial enemies. Unless your name is Wizardel S3 or Rosmatas S3 that is using a Sky Ranger to block. Flingers have a massive range, making placing them very easy. Hunters are snipers that use ammo to attack.
Oh, some
They
of
have
these
this little bar
characters
next to them
looking
representing
fine
their
as
ammo
hell.
count, and they will slowly reload when there are no enemies in range. If they run out of ammo, even if an enemy is in range,
What is this,
they will
boss?
reload before attacking again. The range is quite awkward as it is a thin line, making placement feel very
Nice.
restrictive.
I need
Most
to have
previous
it.
stages don't have a good lane for them. Loop shooters are snipers that throw projectiles as an attack. Every time a loop shooter attacks,
I was
they
gonna
must wait
say,
for the
is it like a
projectile to return
boomerang?
before they can attack again. This means when attacking enemies further away, their attack speed is quite slow, but when enemies are near
Ooh,
them,
nice.
their attack speed is quite fast. They have a large range that
Well,
also
that
goes
makes
behind
sense.
them, allowing them to be quite flexible in placement.
The sand will reshape the land.
Okay,
Push
specialist.
brokers have a very funny name. Beside that, pushers, well, push things. They're able to be placed on both melee and ranged tiles. Pushers are also able to attack enemies up to their block count like a Centurion Guard. Get creative. Hookmasters, or pullers, are the opposite. They pull things. They can be placed on both ranged and melee
I
tiles.
think this
and
is
are
really
able to attack
important to
aerial
have.
enemies. Get creative. Executors, or
To certain
fast
stages.
redeploys, for short, are operators with a reduced redeploy time of 18 seconds. They're best used to go around the stage to clear enemies, beat bait, or make last-minute saves.
This is like literally my latest meta, at least like for me, because like I didn't know as much about like fast redeployment. I can tell like a lot of stages are now literally game changers since I'm using what was her name, Project Red. Yeah, she's basically a game changer for me.
It's very spammable. Ambushers are specialists that have 0 block and are able to attack everyone in their range. Ambushers are able to be placed more aggressively due to having innate dodge built into their mechanics. They also have a -1 aggression level, meaning they will always be the last in the list of priority for when enemies are attacking, increasing their survivability. They attack quite slowly. Geeks are specialists that lose 3% of HP every second, which can drain
What is this
KOing
class?
themselves. However, this will no longer be the case in a few months. Well, that isn't their only gimmick, despite it being their literal trait description. Geeks are the only ones in the game that are able to engage in the fun pastime of friendly fire. Geeks are units that buff allies by attacking them to apply the buff. Most geeks have a form of self-healing in their talents to combat the HP drain.
That's literally one of the weirdest like archetypes I've so far heard. But also like at the same time, I think it would be a lot of fun for, you know, some type of content.
Merchants eat 3 DP every 3 seconds. They have a reduced
Merchants.
redeployment time of 25 seconds. If there is no DP, merchants will automatically retreat. They are units with higher attack stats, making them good pseudo FRDs that you can throw around the stage as they are needed, but you always have to take into account your DP usage. Trapmasters are operators that receive, well, traps. Each operator's traps have different effects with different deployment limits.
I
so
need
be
to
sure
try this
read.
one.
Traps cannot be placed on
I guess I don't
enemies,
have any, but
so some amount of planning is required, unless you're a cheater. Dogkeepers are in fact not dead when they are killed, but instead switch to a substitute that is unable to
ooh,
block. They
resurrection.
stay in that form for 20 seconds and are still able to deal damage in doll form. Once the 20 seconds are up, the normal version of the operator switches back in at full HP. This makes doll keepers quite resistant and
I'm
hard to
actually gonna
kill,
die.
making them good baits for enemies. Alchemists are able to throw things. These alchemical units usually serve to
thing.
both heal and deal damage to enemies within their range. Sometimes alchemical units serve a tertiary purpose and will also
Is
buff
this
allies
Thorn?
or debuff enemies. Alchemical units can keep working as intended
Oh, it
even
is.
if the operator is retreated. Sky Ranger.
Okay, actually, like looking at it, I don't have it, but what I do have, well, I have a free ticket, so I guess I'm gonna be taking him home. The gameplay was actually really fun. There's gonna be like plenty new ways how I can like get
Have the
tilted.
ability to take
Nice.
off. They're able to float into the air and block aerial units. While in the air, enemies are able to walk under and past them.
Heavy defenders are so scary.
Dreadnoughts are the high-power single block guards of the
What are
group,
these
but
voice
come with
lines?
the drawback of being somewhat squishy with a lower defense stat when compared to other guards. They're better at 1v1ing elites than being a lane holder. Centurions, or AoE guards, are able to attack all blocked enemies.
I kinda
Their
want
biggest
it.
advantage is
That
that
looks
each two,
dope.
They're able to block 3 enemies at a time.
Like the
They
chainsaw?
work best when they're placed to crowd clear mobs. Lords, or
Shut up and take
guards,
my
are
money.
able to hit enemies from range. Lords are also able to target aerial enemies. Their range attacks hit for only 80% of their normal attack, but most skills remedy this damage penalty. Lords are very reliant on their skills to deal noticeable amounts of damage. Arts fighters, or arts guards, are similar to dreadnoughts, but deal, who gets it, arts
Look at
damage.
that sword.
Arts guards are single
Looks
blockers, so
noble.
they are suited for 1v1ing enemies, specifically enemies that deal arts damage, as arts guards come with the very rare red stat. Instructors have longer ranges and are meant as a more supportive option. They increase their attack when attacking enemies that are blocked. Place them behind a defender or an AoE guard and call it a day. They do
I mean, this dude literally looks like he call it a day, or she, I don't know. Call it a day immediately. Like, looking actually
not-
like
they are
kinda
unable to
silly,
hit
fun.
aerial enemies. Fighters are cheap one-block guards
Ooh.
that have a fast attack interval. They are
Look
a
at the
good option
tail.
to play the early part of stages due to their cheap DP cost. However, they have a lower attack stat, which makes them quite weak against anyone with a moderate amount of defense. Sword Masters are guards that deal 2 hits with their attacks.
Yo,
Sword Masters are
looks
characterized by their
dope.
focus on offensive recovery burst skills to deal the bulk amount of their damage.
She kinda looks like a German general in a way. Like her uniform and like the horns and the big
While their
black
attacks deal
sword.
2 hits, for SP purposes, they only give 1 SP per attack.
She looks dope. I
Solo
wonder like
Blades,
what is the
or
art style
artist formerly known as
of the
Musha
bigger
guards,
version.
are a strong single block guard like dreadnoughts. Their difference being that they are unable to be healed. They restore HP every time they attack an enemy. Their special mechanic is that all solo blades have the tenacity buff. Tenacity meaning the lower their HP is, the stronger a certain attribute of theirs will be.
This is actually something I always like having a problem to play with, like in the different games, like when I kinda relying on the combat with like lower HP, like more performance. I always feel like when I had this type of character, I always like melting like a freaking butter. I think at least for like time being, I will be avoiding characters or the operators that cannot be
An
healed.
attack speed buff. Liberators just stand there. Menacingly. Liberators have 0 block and will not even attack off skill.
Wow,
However, while they
good
stand
for.
there menacingly, they are increasing their attack by 5% every second.
Okay,
They can
that's
increase their
huge.
attack by 200%, so to reach max potential, you must wait 40
That's
seconds.
big.
Usually, the operator will give a visual cue to signify they are ready to go. On skill, Liberators are able to
Oh,
block
you're
3 and
reading
deal
like so
big damage.
freaking cute.
So you have to plan around
So
their lack of
funny.
block and skill times. Reapers are similar to Solo Blades in the fact that they are unable to be healed. They differ in that Reapers are able to attack all enemies in their range. However, even though they can hit all enemies in their range,
Massive
they only
damage.
heal up to their block count. Reapers only block 2, so they only heal 100 HP off of attacks. This, of course, can be increased with skills that give an additional block. Crushers have 0 fucking defense and res, but they make up for it with considerably high
Very
HP
high
and
HP and
stats.
attack.
Due to their 0
This is a
defense and
must-have
res,
for
all
me.
damage Crushers take are true damage and require babysitting to not explode.
Who is this
If they have good
guy?
enough healing, their high HP makes Crushers great for taking heavy attacks and stalling. They are able to attack enemies up to their block count. Earthshakers are
Seriously, like seeing these archetypes, it looks like my roster is a fucking joke.
flingers, but on the ground. They're able to block only 2, but if other enemies are passing through them, Earthshakers are able to deal extra bits of damage from AoE shockwaves.
Oh, nice.
Primal Guards are the newest branch added to the game. Well, at the
That's
time
it?
of writing and working on this video, that was true, but with the newest event on CN, we have a new Vanguard branch known as Strategists. They buff operators that are in the deployment zone via their skills and talents. Okay, back to the guards. They are primal casters on the... Oh, okay, you get the idea. They are similar to primal casters in that they are most effective when an enemy is already under burst. In that same vein, Primal Guards are unable to effectively proc Elemental Burst, so they do need help of Ritualists or Primal Defenders to proc Elemental Burst.
Well, this was actually a really cool video. I had no idea there are 68 archetypes in this game. I literally thought there are like 8 or something, and now seeing that there's an ambusher, hookmaster, dollkeeper, I'm gonna be real, I'm low-key having a little bit headache when it comes to these, because it feels like so overwhelming. But like I would love to try everything like at once, and maybe that's my problem. But like overall, really insightful video. I didn't know like 80%, maybe, okay, let's be real, 90% of like what I just saw. I guess I will probably watch this video at least like one more time and like trying to find maybe a different combination, or maybe based on what you saw on my very huge roster, maybe you can like tell me what kind of combination would be at least like fun to try. And of course, if there is more content that you kind of find a little bit insightful, don't be shy, leave it down below. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and maybe see you next time. Take care.